Hey, welcome back in, Mizzou fans. We are continuing every single day this week leading up to MUKU. We are talking to a different person about this rivalry, about 2007. People who were kind of in the middle of this thing. Talked to Dave Matter on Sunday just about covering that game. We had Lorenzo Williams on Monday. And now today, the only guy that can say that we're talking to this week that can say that he grew up right in the middle of this thing. Kansas City native, running back Tony Temple. Tony, how you doing, man? It's good to see you.
I'm great. How are you, Mizzou family? How are you, Gabe?
Just hanging in, doing the same old thing. A few years older, but other than that, not much different. Look, before we get into this, I want to make sure that I give you a chance, give Missouri fans a chance to kind of find out what you're doing and how life is for you now.
Yeah, life is great. Still here. I'm in Kansas City, Missouri with family. Wife's great. Got three beautiful children, 12, 11, and 7.
Well,
I'm in
you're in the middle of it, man.
I'm in thick right now. Yeah, we are just super excited about right now. I'm currently in a foundation. We help kids with literacy and wellness move and have fun. So just kind of coupling some of those skills that I've learned over the years in sports and just helping our kids battle that crisis of literacy that we're all kind of dealing with here. That's it. That's what I do. Still in the wellness world, more in the foundation space, but that's what I got going on here.
That's awesome, man. Great to hear. Glad the family's doing well. So we're talking to different people. Look, I just got to know first off, like MUKU, you glad this thing's back?
Oh my goodness. I'm so glad it's back. And I think a lot of us have been just kind of holding it in, just waiting for the moment to just come. And now that we know we're a week away, like we're ready. We're here. We're ready to go.
Yeah, yeah. When I talked to Lorenzo a couple nights ago, and he said like all the guys are kind of talking, and like the blood's getting boiling again now that this thing is coming up.
It is. It's just so funny how that works. And obviously, with college football season starting off and just seeing the rivalries, like we're right in the thick of that. And it feels so good to know that one, being a part of it personally, and then now that it's back. It's so the fans deserve this more than anything. I just wonder if the players know what's going on and how big a deal this
Right.
is.
Right. Well, that's what I wanted to ask. Like, look, you went to Rockhurst. You grew up right there. Kind of. I grew up in Kansas City. That's kind of ground zero for this thing. I'm sure you had a bunch of friends who were Mizzou fans, a bunch of friends who were KU fans. Like, before you came to college, like, what was your kind of knowledge and interest in this rivalry?
You know what? It was very unbiased. I think growing up as a kid, you see KU playing basketball. If you're at Kansas City, they were on just regular station TV, so it was just natural. But then as you get a little bit older and you decide to pick a state line or pick a team, that's when you really truly find out about how thick this rivalry is because it's kind of open, just pick wherever you want. We love you no matter what, and then you pick a side and you see how ugly it really is. And it's still that way. I remember I had a KU t-shirt at the University of Missouri, and I was in study hall, and I was desperately just trying to find something, and it was just one of my old shirts. I was a senior, and
Right.
I grabbed it, and I couldn't even make it out the locker room. Like they literally burned it. Like I can't. I'm not even going to give you the guy's name. They tore it. They burned it. Like you do not wear anything KU, and I'm like, it's just a shirt, and it's not just a shirt. It's serious.
Right. Right. I want to, because I remember, and I think this was before you were in school, but there was a reporter that wore a Tennessee hat into one of Gary's press conferences. And I don't even know if he was a Tennessee fan. I used to own a ton of hats, but Gary made an example. I would have loved to see Gary Pinkel see one of his players walk in the facility in a Kansas t shirt. That would have been good.
Yeah, exactly. And my teammates were trying to save me from Mr. Gary, Hall of Fame Gary Pinkel, Coach Gary Pinkel. So it was quite the experience. But Yeah, I think about our Rockhurst. I'm going to Rockhurst. Our class went 50% went to KU, 50% went to Mizzou. So you're
Mhm.
right. It is just a strong tradition here in our city.
So when you came to Mizzou, I mean, I guess you would have signed in 2004, about 2 months after they went to that first bowl game. But like all you guys that eventually played in this 2007 game and led up to all that, like you came here when there wasn't a whole lot of reason to come here. I mean, how much did you guys talk about kind of that taking it from not much to where it got?
Yeah, I think, it takes time to really sit into that accomplishment. And a lot of us didn't know what we were doing at that time. And just how we were just pushing the narrative of what Mizzou culture sports are going to be, especially in football. And you're right, there were some downloaded moments. It's funny you talked to Lorenzo because he was one of those leaders on the team where we were like, what are we doing? Are we going to choose to continue to be the same Mizzou, or we're going to win? And you're right. I think we finished a Iowa State game and we lost. And I think we finished under 500. And that was a powerful summer for us. Like we just refused to go out like that
Mhm.
as a unit. And so just having that bonding and that forming, and just seeing that what we had just as a team, just as a family, just took us to a whole different level. And this obviously, as we kind of went through that year and just seeing how both teams were kind of, showing what they had, it was going to be a magical end.
And you got the, I mean, you were pretty good in 2006. You know, Chase starts and puts up a bunch of numbers, and the defense wasn't great, but like, I remember that Sun Bowl game that you guys lost at the end, but you finish 8-5, and there's kind of this feeling of, hey, next year could be pretty good. But like behind the scenes, did you think next year could be better than maybe those of us outside thought it could be?
You know what? We did realize that Mizzou was beating themselves. We were letting other names and bigger schools beat us, and it just wasn't us. And I think it was just this undoubted belief that we were so good, whether we believed it or not, that we just could not win. It was actually shocking in that '07 year when we would lose, when we lost, or even get when we
Mhm.
got close, because we just believed in ourselves so much. Like we were going to the national championship and we need to focus on one game at a time. And so to say I didn't believe it's really hard because we knew what we were about. We knew what we did in practice. We knew what we did in the off season. And I mean, Gabe, that talent on the roster was just unbelievable. And it was such a humility now that I just really think about it. Like we just wanted to do our job no matter what game it was, what play it was. And again, you got to give Coach Pinkel, his staff, that credit because they had us locked in.
What was it like being a running back in the Big 12 at that time, man? Because like, look, you had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. You put up these numbers, but like the Big 12 at that time, it was Chase and Macklin and Kaufman and Rucker, and then Sam Bradford and all, and Texas Tech scoring 87 points a game and whatever. It was this huge passing league, and I think the running backs in that league didn't get maybe the credit they should have.
That is a good question. I think in that era, if you're going to be a running back in the Big 12, it was all about adaptability. And if you could not adapt, there was no way you're going to get on the field, nor could you play in the up tempo pace that the whole league began to play. And like again, you think about the tradition. I mean, our backs were like 220, the Zach Abron 220, 225. Could you take the beating of the Big 12? And it was adaptability. We took that away. Can you keep up with our running backs? Can you keep up with our speedsters? Can you flex them a little bit? Zone. I think about the zone. That was so different. I never in my life ran a zone. I was an I formation back. Like that used to hurt. Like it was cringy when people say, "Why is he going east and west and not north and south?" And I used to be like, "Trust me, I want to, but this is just the way our structure of our offense was." And so just to know, again, just the adaptability of it as a player, seeing how football was evolving. We were a part of this evolution of speed, fast football, and spread offense. So what a time, what a time.
Yeah, it was. I mean, in those days, like if you didn't score 40, you probably weren't winning in that league. It was crazy. So you're going through that 2007 season. I mean, you guys lose the game to Oklahoma, and Lorenzo told me, like, coach in the locker room after that game was like, "We can't lose again, guys, because KU's not losing again." Right? What's it like playing half a season where like every game is, hey, if we lose, everything we want is off the table?
Well, I say our dreams and our goals were so big. And so that reality, to humble ourselves, to bring ourselves down to like, okay, whatever, if you're telling us, coach, we believe you. You're telling us if we do this, we're going to get here, we'll do it. And we believed in it. Our dreams were that big. And then you got to think about the culture of Mizzou at that time. Like, things started to change. Like, the media started to believe in us. The fans started to believe in us. Kansas City and St. Louis started to come together. So having just this influx of just Mizzou, the campus was growing. It was just an unbelievable time of energy. And man, you're just taking me back right now. It was just so unreal. It's like it was yesterday. And
Yeah.
um yeah.
What do you remember about that week? Like, I'm sure you had 8,000 people back home being like, "Yo, I need a ticket to Arrowhead," But that with that week leading up to that game, does anything kind of stick out to you?
Yeah, I think the momentum. I think that's the first time just really seeing a national scene just be focused on you, focus on Mizzou, and watching it build all week. Watching our coaches try to center us and not get caught up in the hype. That was like the first time the nation had their eyes on us too at the same time. So how do we, the underdogs of Mizzou, just trying to get our name on the map? Now we have that attention. How do we focus? I thought that was very interesting. Our team was so disciplined. So one play at a time, one practice at a time, one game at a time, we were able to do that. But being kids, at that time, you couldn't help but to see what was going on outside. So I take my city, and Kansas City was unbelievable. I was getting called by family members I haven't talked to in years, like, do you realize what you guys are about to do? Do you understand what's going on in Kansas City? And they were on the plaza. They were giving MIZ chants and rock chalk chants, and it was happening weeks on and hours and days. And so the momentum being so thick, I remember it being unreal. And then obviously pulling up, I've never seen fans greet us so far
Right.
before the season, like before we pulled up to the stadium. Like, it was more than a Chiefs game. It was like the college world came together finally in the Midwest. And so pulling up, having that experience as a young kid, being in Arrowhead Stadium too, and then playing against a rivalry, it's nothing. It's nothing like it.
That's what I was going to ask you. I mean, I assume, like everybody who grew up in Kansas City, I don't know if you were like a diehard Chiefs fan, but the Chiefs are the team you're paying attention to. And I, did you, like, when you step out on that field, is there a moment of, and like, look, everybody knows your background. Like, you were a national recruit. Everybody knew you were going to play at this level, but there's still, when you step on the field at an NFL stadium, there's got to be a moment of, this doesn't really seem real. Okay, we lost Tony for a minute. We will add him back in. Okay, there's Tony.
All
What's
right.
up, man? Okay. Yeah, we just lost you for a minute, but we're good. So yeah, I was kind of asking, I mean, you step on the turf at Arrowhead, and is there a moment of like, this doesn't seem real for you?
It is. It's like it's almost like a euphoric feeling because it's all your childhood dreams coming true. From the smell of the grass, from seeing all the legends on the stadium walls, it is unreal. And then you're in this almost like surreal feeling because you're playing a college game. You have a college uniform. You're representing your state, your city, and then to mention it's the rival across the street, like your buddies, your friends that you're going against. It was unbelievable. I remember seeing just some of the Chiefs like that were there just from that game. I think Peterson was there back in the day. I don't remember off the top of my head, but just watching them show up for this game and ESPN College Game Day, like these are, you dream of these things and you just don't think they can happen to you. And they weren't happening for Mizzou. So
Right.
this was new for us. It wasn't like act like you've been there before. We've never been here before. And so there was a lot of taking in for guys. I remember guys going hours before the game and coaches letting them just to get out there, get what it feels like. It was freezing cold, as you remember. So guys had no shirts on, just trying to get acclimated to the weather. And that was just, that was it.
You mentioned the guys on KU. I don't know KU's roster from then, obviously, like I did Missouri. I don't know if there were any Rockers guys, but were there guys on that team that like you knew growing up and you were friends with?
Yeah, it was just guys throughout. We had the Missouri Kansas game that you played through in high school. So a lot of those guys just played on those teams, and you just always wondered, you kept up with them. So, Michael Rivera, he was one of the guys that were there that I remember. And yeah, just a lot of guys just throughout the league that you just kind of grew up that were on the Kansas side. They end up going to Kansas. I think Rashad, no, I think that's KU. But yeah, so needless to say, it was really cool to kind of watch us all come together at one of the biggest stages possible.
Yeah. So you guys in that game, 5 minutes into the second half, you're up 21-0. Like, are you sitting here going, hey, man, this is kind of easy?
Yeah, that probably was the worst thing that could have happened to us.
Yeah.
We were locked in. We knew what we were gonna do, and we did. We let off the pedal. I mean, we immediately talked about celebration. It sat in like, could we be number one in the nation if we win this game? Like we knew we were better than KU, like that, hands down. And so it got to the point where we let off. I remember sitting there and we looked up and we're like, oh my goodness, we got to finish this game. And
Yeah.
and that's exactly what happened. We just kind of had to turn it back on. And a lot of our teammates, I say there's some gamers. These are the most unreal athletes. They are such big gamers. They always would show up. You can name so many of our athletes that were on that roster and all our players, our teammates, and they were gamers, and they always knew when to step up at the right time. And that whole second half was big plays the
Mhm.
whole game.
Yep.
And yeah.
So were there legitimately, like, do you remember being on the sidelines, guys? Because like, look, you can't get in trouble for it 20 years later, right? Like, guys legitimately talking about being number one in the country during the game.
Oh yeah, it's just natural.
Right.
We knew where we were going, and we were ready for the next game. Like we were ready for who's next. We were looking, and yeah, we and the coaches, I think they saw it, they felt it, they felt
Yeah.
like you guys better get it together. And but as you talk about it, I think they felt it too. They kind
Mhm.
of felt like, all right, we are who we think we are, and
Yeah.
but then it really set in like, all right, we got to finish this. And but yeah, I think that's just natural. You do look at the scoreboard, you're looking at the other players or the other teams and what they're doing. You're waiting to see who loses. This is all a part of the game. And if we're not doing it, the crowd's doing it. So you
Right.
can't help but to be involved in what's going on in the nation.
Yeah. So, look, most of that season, right? You guys had this offense that was ridiculous, and Chase is a Heisman finalist, and that side of the ball gets all the headlines. But the play that this whole thing comes down to, you're on the sidelines when they sack Reesing. I mean, do you remember? Are you watching at that point, or do you remember the reaction?
Yes, we're all locked in because now when you take it out of the offense hands, you got to put it on
Right.
the defense. So, but we had a great defense. You saying it like we know what we practice with day in and day out, and we know what
Yep.
they were going against day in and day out. So we felt like just with that in itself, we knew what they were going up against. And I just, Zoe, I just think about Zoe. Zoe, he's such a steady, consistent player. He was a leader, and he knew when it was time to make a play. And he was a part of that leader. It's just so funny he makes that play because he's that person that's saying, hey, we're not going to be the same Mizzou Tigers. How are we going to go out? I'm from Oklahoma. I didn't come here for this. What are we going to do? And, it's just, wow. Striker, Zoe, just those two. It was just unbelievable. Willie Moe, it was just an unbelievable a performance for our defense and to finish it for us. Like they knew they had to finish it. That's something that a lot of Mizzou fans didn't pay attention to our defense. I would say our offensive lineman. That's another under, tone that we don't talk about as much. But our defense was unreal.
Yeah. Do you remember anything from, like, Lorenzo told me he felt like the bus ride back to Columbia took about 8 minutes, because you guys were so fired up. Like, whether it's celebration or getting back home or somebody, do you remember anything after that game and just kind of, hey, you wake up and you're the number one team in the country?
Yeah, everyone celebrate and handled that different that night. You're right. I remember us getting back. There was guys that wanted to go out, and there was guys that just wanted to be at home to look at ESPN at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, whenever it was, to hear about we were going to be number one nation, or to just see. There was still a doubt, like, like how's this gonna? It's always, Mizzou always catches the short end, so. There still was a thing where we wanted to kind of take it all in. So I think a lot of guys, I was one of those guys, I think I stayed in and just wanted to kind of see everything and just take it in. Because when you're in that moment, you don't know. And again, I don't know how often we had the national spotlight, but to just see everyone saying these guys are the real deal, the Lee Corsos, and just all of it, it's unreal.
Yeah. So I cannot have you on and not ask you about, a month later down in Dallas. And it was legitimately the only time I watched Dave Christensen coach a game. And he said, they're not going to let us throw the ball. Cool. We will just hand this thing off 60 times. And, he's so exhausted. He can't finish the game. And I believe it was just within the last year or two, you and Coach Pinkel both were down for something in the Cotton Bowl Hall of Fame. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah. What an honor. Obviously being there with my coach, being recognized on a national stage with Eli and just so many great other people that joined us. And then obviously to finish off a year the way we did at the Cotton Bowl, again, just the accumulation of our team. Bowl games were really easy for a running back, especially me. You plan and practice for stopping the pass, and the lanes just opened up for me like the Red Sea. So that, I got to give it credit, but I already mentioned our offensive line. They were just unbelievable. During my Hall of Fame speech, I made sure I listed every single one of them just because I think they deserve it. They were awesome. That game, to me, obviously changed the trajectory of my life. It is one of the best experiences I personally had just because of the team that I've been on, just everything that it was. It just made it perfect. And I feel like I'm a forever Mizzou son now. And it just feels good, to kind of have just a little bit of peace.
Well, I'm curious because you're talking about growing up, you're kind of neutral. You weren't an MUK guy, weren't a KU guy, all that. Now this thing is coming back, and I don't want to put an age on you. You're older. We'll just say you're older than you used to be, right? But like, what's your emotional investment here come next Saturday?
I can't stand KU. Matter of fact, I'm now I get to be a fan, and I'm the best Mizzou fan, and I hate KU. And so I can't wait. Honestly, I'm going down there like everyone else, and I just can't wait to just celebrate with people, see so many people I haven't seen forever, and just a chance for our communities to come together. It's been so long. We have great fans on both sides, and I think that is it's just going to be awesome to bring everyone together.
Well, that's great, man. Hopefully we'll see you down on the field getting a wave or something during one of the timeouts to all the fans, and hope you enjoy it, man. It's always good catching up, and So it dates me a little bit that guys I covered as recruits like now are like I don't know if you know this. You were the first recruit I talked to when I started this job in like August of 2003. So it's been a minute.
Yeah, we have some history, man. We talk about going viral in this new age. Your story and our platform, I appreciate everything you've done. You helped out the brand a lot, of getting the word out of what we're doing in Kansas City with football, Mizzou. So, Gabe, we appreciate you. We love you, man. You followed us. You were always considerate to us too. So I just think we really appreciate that as players, just how well you treated us throughout the years. And we went through some tough times. And so thank you for just being so solid, man. Appreciate you.
That's great of you to say. I appreciate you guys getting the number one in the country. A lot more people got interested in what I was saying. That was a good deal. So, Tony, appreciate it, man. Have a ball this weekend, and we will definitely catch up down the road.
Yes, sir. I'll see you soon, brother.
All right. Sounds good. That is Tony Temple, former Mizzou running back, obviously Cotton Bowl MVP at the end of that 07 season, Kansas City kid. And he was one of the ones definitely on my list. Had 98 yards rushing in that game, leading rusher. And definitely one of the guys, I'd say kids, they're all still kids to me, but one of the guys I wanted to talk to for this series. I hope you guys have been enjoying it. Again, Sunday, we started off Dave Matter. Monday afternoon, we had Lorenzo Williams. Tomorrow going to be Denario Alexander. We got Striker Shulock and Gary Pinkel coming up later this week. But my thanks to Tony Temple and for his time and certainly for the kind words there at the end. Hope you guys enjoy it here on the channel. Check out all those things. State of the Tigers for Monday night. Join us over at powermizzou.com. This is when you see this, which is going to be Tuesday, you're going to have about 12 hours left to save 75% off of a VIP subscription, the first year of your VIP subscription. So we hope you do that, and we'll talk to you next time.